Welcome to Tower Talk Business Radio, where we bring you conversations with the top business minds on Long Island and around the nation every week. Featuring expert consultants and small business owners who have found success but are also willing to share their top tips, failures, and give gritty, matter-of-fact advice based on their firsthand experience. Now, let's get down to business on Tower Talk Business Radio on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Hello and welcome to Tower Talk Business Radio, powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation. My name is Ray Schwetz, AVP of Business Banking at Jovia Financial Credit Union, along with Donyshia Boston-Hill, CEO, keeper of the brand, marketing and digital agency.
We're focused on being the premier resource for business and entrepreneurship. We bring you weekly business advice, tips, tools, and services that help you grow your business. Plus, we interview some of the top business leaders in the industry. And Ray, today I'm super excited about our guest.
Yep, me too. He's somebody we've known for a while, great guy. Helping provide us with business empowerment today is Frank Camarano, and he's the president of the Nassau Council Chambers of Commerce. The council's mission is to address legislative issues that impact businesses in our community, and he does a great job with his work. So welcome to the show, Frank. Thanks for coming aboard.
Thanks, guys. Glad to be here.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you kind of got involved with the council.
Okay, well, the council is the umbrella organization of all the chambers in Nassau County, right? So I come from a chamber. My chamber, my home chamber is East Meadow. So I was president 2017, 2018. And then so what happens is, being involved with the umbrella, of course, as president, you attend the meetings. And in a short period of time, here I am, right? I kind of did a little jumping steps a bit, to get where I am, But the truth is, a past president of East Meadow, Rich Pavone, was president of the council, years ago for almost 8 years. So I guess I'm following in a way in his footsteps. So anyway, I'm glad to, and thankful to be doing what I'm doing.
Right, and you've shown leadership skills to make that jump, right?
Well, it all depends on who you talk to. You never know. I mean, look, chambers are my thing. I've been a member of the East Meadow Chamber since 2002, but I didn't get involved really with anything operating it until 2015. I started on the board. It was a 2-year gig. 6 months into it, they asked me to be vice president the next year. And the following year, I was president. I was the first 2-year president, consecutive ever, and only the third to ever do more than a year in the history, like 70, 80 years of the chamber. So, there are folks on our board now, on the council that have been on the board for a really long time. And I've been on the board 4 years, 5 years, and I'm president. So I did, look, I think it was time for me. It was definitely time for the chambers to get involved together. I'm definitely, those that know me, you guys know me already, I'm a chamber person, but I'm a regular guy. I'm not probably not even capable of speaking over anyone's head, honestly, but the reality of it is they needed someone to represent them on the local and on the state level that really spoke for them. I guess it's kind of hard for someone to do that unless they really believe that they're one of the crew, and I definitely do.
And believing in the chamber, that would be hugely important. Now, for folks who may not be aware, you see certain things that are, the Chamber of Commerce did this, the Chamber of Commerce did that. Like around Christmas time, you see the lights up, and the chambers did that. But what is the purpose of the chamber? What do they do?
I'm glad you asked this question. I'll answer it a couple of different ways, too. Okay. A Chamber of Commerce is a local community organization, business organization, pretty much the strict focus to promote the businesses in their community. Now, for as many people you talk to, you're going to have as many different answers. But the reality of it is that is the reality. If a chamber does things for the community, and chambers always do, right? Always do. One of their main focuses, should be and is to draw attention to them as an organization and their members. So there's got to be a chamber, unlike Kiwanis, I'm on Kiwanis too, they're a business organization like I just mentioned, and they have an obligation to do that, to promote the businesses. Sometimes you get involved so much in the community, and I see it all the time, that, you can, because we're all people, right, lose focus over what your primary goal is. And that's what a chamber is. Then you have the volunteer. Then you have business organization, which, serve a purpose too. Part of our council, we have the Long Island Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. We have the Long Island African American Chamber of Commerce. I saw you guys at an event, Jovia, the other day or whatever. And they have chamber in their name, but they really not a chamber per se. They're a business organization, a regional big business organization representing a percentage of like the population that they have a definite purpose and they're part of our council and they do great things, but it's a different dynamic altogether. Mm-hmm. You see, so we focus. I see them all the time, but we're focusing more on the needs of a typical chamber. So you're looking at an organization in a community, everyone's volunteer, right? They got their businesses to run. They're brick and mortars, most of them, So how do they figure things out and keep things going? So a chamber's greatest resource is each other, helping each other. We talk about this all the time. And one of our goals is to do just that, bring them together. Yeah, and we have we do go upstate to Albany and there's something coming up. We were a driving force behind internet sales tax, right? Look, the pariah, with Amazon, but the reality of it is, they serve a purpose too. But there was a time until just recently where if you bought something online, there was no sales tax. So there was no revenue going to, like, say, here where we are in Nassau County. So we wanted to level the playing field, in that, part of it to do that. And we were behind that. So legislatively, that's just one of many things we do.
That's fantastic. I know you touched base on a little bit about what differentiates you and your council, your chamber from the other business owners. Mm-hmm. But for small business owners out there, what's the driving force for them to really become active and get involved in their local chambers and ultimately, being a part of this overall chamber of network of chambers that you run?
Okay, well, the Nassau Council, we're not a chamber. People say that all the time.
Okay.
It happens all the time. We're the umbrella group, right. So we don't operate as a chamber. Sometimes I wish we did because I love being, I still am part of East Meadow Chamber. I'm still on the board, but it's, look, if you have a business in your community, right, you're not alone. If you want to get involved, how about this? What if your only focus in life, business-wise, was to promote your business? You don't care about anything else. And most people aren't like that, but that's fine, Think about it. You're in, say, Garden City, right? I think we're in Garden City now. I get lost where I am a little bit, right? We're in Garden City, say.
Yep.
And then, so what better way to promote your business, like, say, your brick and mortar, especially in Garden City, to get involved with a business organization in Garden City that knows Garden City, that has other business members like yourself, different businesses, maybe the same, and getting working together to promote your business right here in Garden City. And that's a chamber. That's what they do. And Garden City Chamber is a big chamber, but that's what they do, as big as they are. And that's your biggest bang for the buck. It's not going to cost a lot of money to join a chamber. It's like 100, 150, whatever it is. Every chamber is a little different. But think about it. Now, it also gives you the opportunity to get involved if you want. No one forces you to. A lot of businesses in your community, whatever communities you guys come from, could be Merrick, right? Okay. You might live there. So imagine, you own a dress shop, right? And you live in Merrick and your dress shop's in Merrick, or maybe you live somewhere else, but you want to get involved with the community and help, folks there. Well, it's kind of hard when you're on your own doing that. What are you going to do? Look in the newspaper or some Google online or something? The chamber is built for that. So, it gives you opportunities that would not normally exist. Chambers have been around forever. I don't know, what was the movie where it was black and white and it went to color? What was it again? Do you remember with Tobey Maguire?
did that. Oh,
Tobey Maguire, which one
Pleasantville.
was it? Pleasantville. Okay, so funny. Remember the organization in Pleasantville?
Yes.
It was like the kind of government organization, right? That was like the guy that was running. Now, he wasn't a bad guy. He just didn't want change, right? Well, if you think about the movie, do you know what the organization was? It was the Chamber of Commerce.
Oh, wow.
Now, that's not what chambers are, but I bring it, so it's like the idea of what a chamber can change over time. I'm not saying they were ever like that. This is fiction. Just saying, but that's how present chambers have always been in communities. The weight of it, that it wound up in a movie like that is like the bad guy, but just saying.
Well, it's also a great analogy because that's kind of what the work is that the chamber does, because the chamber, it does get that camaraderie of businesses working together, and you kind of learn from each other. Sometimes there's opportunities for partnership. Sometimes there's opportunities for volunteerism in the community. And look, when you do those things and you're visible in the community, your business is visible. I know that when I visit a booth at an event, like a street fair or something, that's my first time interacting with the business. I have a very positive experience. I'm going to go look for them and do business with them. Mm-hmm. So it's tell us a little bit about maybe a success story of a business that you work with or a chamber that you work with where you really made a difference in your work.
A success story? It's almost like, for me, it's more like playing small ball. You can swing for the fence. With baseball analogies we're using, people that don't know, but there were so many things that like I've been involved with along the way. I know it's kind of like answering this way is kind of a little bit of a cop-out, but the reality of it is there isn't one thing I can really – I'd rather probably not do that. Like I'd rather, again, look, I've even been involved with the Nassau hub with that development, and that's restarting again, But for me, when it comes to say, like if we're talking about not personal life, organizations, it's my biggest thing, if I had to pick one, was being president of East Meadow Chamber of Commerce. I would have, honestly, I love doing what I'm doing now, but I would have stayed president forever. I just, I'm not, people say, hey, here comes Frankie from East Meadow. I'm from Franklin Square. I grew up, my parents are still there. We've been there since 1940, but I love the chamber there. Not that I don't love old chambers, but I just love doing, interacting with people. If I had a snapshot in time to pick organization-wise, that was where it would be. I was, knock on wood, I had a great board and a president. A president doesn't succeed on his or her own. I'm telling you right now, in any organization, okay? It takes a group. And my crew around me at the time was fantastic. And we succeeded all over the place. But keep in mind, if something goes wrong, I don't care what it is, it's all on the president's shoulders.
Absolutely.
That's the life of it. But yeah, East Meadow is where it's at for me.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense because you know what? I mean, what you're doing is making a difference, not maybe at an individual level, but when you're making differences at a policy level or an umbrella level like the council, there's an impact there, and I think that's amazing. You are listening to Tower Talk Business Radio on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Ray Schwetz, along with Donyshia Boston-Hill, and our guest today is Frank Camarano. He's the president of the Nassau Council Chambers of Commerce. I imagine there were a lot of challenges. Obviously, there were businesses that were challenged by the pandemic, and I know everyone's been talking about this, but I am curious from your perspective, because you have a different perspective on this, working with the council. How was that challenge handled by the council of the pandemic? Did you work directly with the chambers? Like, what are some of the things that you embarked upon to say, all right, well, this is what we're dealing with now. How do we deal with this?
Oh, boy.
I know it's a tough one.
Well, it's a tough one because, in my personal opinion, it's kind of like, I was a vice president at the time, and look, we were going through the motions. As many people, again, backing up, people were scared. What do we do? I'm more like a go-getter. I wasn't scared at all. Not to be, ignorant about of the, the possibilities of what was going on. We could have definitely done more. Look, Dennis, who was our president at the time, Dennis Grossman, wonderful guy from Great Neck Chamber. But Dennis is still going through some medical stuff to this day. Not necessarily affiliated with that, just like he's going through some stuff. So, I ran point for us at press conferences and stuff, and we got the information coming down from the feds in the state and gave it to the chambers, and we had our monthly meetings, but that was really kind of, what we were going through the motions. Some chambers didn't meet at all during that time. Other chambers were having, like Franklin Square, right, my hometown, their chamber met every month like clockwork in Rath Park, outside because they couldn't be inside,
Right.
So we did what we could, I guess. But I would definitely say we could have and should have did more. Even to this day, look, as much as we're doing now, we can always do more.
It's definitely a learning experience. I mean, that was a curveball that came at us, and we went through the pandemic. What's the new what's the vision forward for the council?
Take every opportunity we can to help small business, develop relationships. Like, of course, we're doing every day. I'm patting on Ray's shoulder right now with Joe. Yes. Right? Yeah, but it's true,
Well, I think that's a very good point because one of the things about the pandemic, it was a horrible thing to go through. Looking at the silver lining of things, I did think that pause kind of made us turn around and go, all right, well, what are some of the things we need to do to move forward, to Donyshia's point? And it is all about those relationships. And it's, all right, well, what are some of the relationships that we want to create that, we haven't? And I do think we focus on that. For example, Jovia partnering with the council was a relatively recent endeavor. And it was because we had the opportunity to stop what we were doing and go, all right, well, this is some of the work that we should be doing, because if we want to make an impact on small business, this is an organization that we should be partnered with.
Well, Jovia is, as you know better than I do, is a member of every chamber that they have a branch in. And that was, Ray, I'm going to say you were behind it, you probably were, but, behind a driving force in that for sure. And, whether it be Jovia, AT&T, as big as AT&T, they're with us too, and stuff like that. As supportive as a company like Jovia is, you don't believe in Jovia. You believe in people. Jovia is people, and I believe in Ray. I'm, again, pointing at Ray now, too. He's right next to me, but it's the truth, no matter what. I mean, you look, the Nassau Council, I'm here, right? You're dealing with me, right? I mean, now you're stuck with me because we could change that if you want. But I'm just saying, it's a people thing, and like you folks said, it's things are opening up, and people are thankful that we can do this and be together again.
Right.
And then there's so many things and opportunities popping up. But what's funny is the money's still coming, and I don't quite understand it. Like there's more money coming from this, the state. I mean, we're working right now. It hasn't come up, but I'll bring it up. Nassau County. It started like last August, the conversations. We got grants coming from Nassau County, which is from federal money, right? So that's kind of like almost finished, like the process of doing it to get the money. We are re-granting to the chambers, and that's like $500,000, right? But from what I'm hearing down the road, and it might not be that long, there's a lot more coming. I don't know for what or whatever, but the money keeps on coming. So now we have things meeting together, people wanting to get out and again do business on a one-to-one level again, and then these opportunities funding-wise to make that happen. I'm not going to say in the past it didn't happen. Of course it did, but now it gives you more opportunities when you have money. I won't say to throw around because that's like too casual for it, but let's just face it, it does. So our goal moving forward is to, if we hand over or re-grant, which we will, of course, to all the chambers, the money, it's under specific, categories that they need to use the money for. It's federal money because that's okay, right? But if I just hand someone, or we just hand someone money, like a chamber money, they're going to need help to figure out what to do with that.
Right.
Some chambers, look, I'm just off the top of my head, like Farmington, Massapequa, big chambers, East Mills, big chamber too, going to know, they're kind of already thinking about it, but some chambers maybe not. So they're going to need help to do that. So that'll be another process to go out and they're going to say, well, Frank, geez, thanks for the money back. What we're going to do, So we have to work our way through that, and look, the goal of this is chambers are a conduit to helping small business. I should have come up. I should have brought that up sooner. It really is. I mean, they serve a purpose, and that's their purpose, right? So the reason why this money, this funding and support from the county is going to the chambers because it's one of the many ways that they want to help small business, and they acknowledge the fact that we all do that chambers is a good thing to do, right? So that's why that's what they're doing. So there's exciting times ahead. So, yep,
that's fantastic, and it's just so interesting that chambers really are some of the lifeline for some of the small businesses because sometimes people are just lost, and you being the head of the council. You're just, you're bigger than life personality. You definitely have that ability to bring all the chambers together as the council leader. So that's fantastic. So Frank, thank you again for joining us because you are listening to Tower Talk Business Radio. Our guest today is Frank Camarano, president of the Nassau Council Chamber of Commerce. My name is Donyshia Boston-Hill, along with Ray Schwetz on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Now, Frank, I think that's also, you brought up a very interesting point about that money coming in. It's so important not only to help the chambers with, all right, well, now this money's coming in, how can we maximize the impact of this money? And obviously a lot of that is getting it into the hands of the businesses that need it most and to, keep the employees coming, on Long Island and to keep that growth coming. So I think it's very important that you continue on those efforts. And I imagine that there's some partnerships that you have also kind of outside of the chambers that you deal with. And I know we talked about, one of them with Eric Alexander and some of the work that he's doing. What are some of the other partners that you're working with? And what are some of the other partners that you'd like to work with that maybe you don't work with now, but let's get the message out there.
Okay, well, you brought up Eric, right?
Yep.
Our buddy Eric, everybody's buddy Eric, right?
And we're talking about Eric Alexander.
Vision Long Island.
Vision Long Island.
Right, Executive Director of Vision Long Island, right. So just recently, to kick off, we had multiple press conferences over, I don't know if you saw online, it was crazy, right?
Yes.
To promote us promoting the events happening locally, right? This has been going on, the problem of the events not being promoted has probably been going on forever, right? So, we've been hashing it out. How come, this, we were hoping, I guess, over the years that the tourism, tons of tourism money coming in would tie in with the local communities. And I'm not going to...
There's so much to do on Long Island. It's crazy. I mean, we all go somewhere else. But there's these great things going on now.
Yeah, right? So it's not... It never did. It never did. They have. I thought Suffolk. Look, we're all online, right? We see posts on Suffolk, and they're not happy with it either. The Nassau, Suffolk County itself isn't happy. But look, so what are we going to do, right? So we come with this idea. The truth is, it all started at Rittner Communications, which owns the Herald, right, among other things, right? Stewart is the owner, and he calls it hyper local, promoting, right? So I know the Herald. The Herald's better than the others only because East Meadow, they're in East Meadow, South Shore. But we have Blank Media, we have Anto Communications and others. We even have, we do business with, K-Joy Radio, right? Where we need to, among the many list of growing things that I need to do that I haven't done yet, meet with them and formally work out a deal, for them to directly work with the communities to promote their events. I'm going to tell you, though, they do promote the events. But again, we need a more formal structure for it, almost set up where a chamber could just a boilerplate, can kind of just go through it to put it up. So in the meantime, we're doing our own thing, right? Eric's posting on his way, and we're going to, it took us a little longer on our end, the council's end, to put it up on our website and get our social media going. That promotion was going to go, planned initially to go from the summer through the fall, but I want to take it perpetual, keep it going. So it's a bigger plan with that. Other than that, look, you have the opportunities that are out there, right? And it's not just with big business. It's even the smaller ones where it seems like almost every kind of conversation I have with someone is another opportunity, either for us or for them. And it all comes around in the long run. But unless you're out there, hanging out, these are not you're not gonna know, So look, I appreciate what you said, bigger than life personality, Frank Camarano, right? But the reality of it is, if you really, I'm just me, right? And it's just I'm one of the guys, one of the girls, and it's just, I know what we need, not all of it, because I'm learning, everyone's learning every day, and I have a mouth. Okay, everybody knows I have a mouth, right? And I don't mind saying it. So, in that way, I guess you could say, I'm more vocal than most. But unless we get it going, it's just not going to happen, right? So it's even, I'll mention, because we talked earlier, right, before the radio broadcast, Ray invited me to an event, the Leukemia.
The Leukemia Lymphoma Society Light the Night event. Yep.
Right, a wonderful event. And here I'm in all honesty, it was a great event, wonderful people. And we're hearing these stories, and I'm like, man, I'm worried about, the problems at chambers. And these folks have been going through so much. It's it's crazy how life is, it's in your face. And they're doing wonderful things. So we start talking, saying, hey, how can chambers, by numbers, get involved with them? Let's call it, say, a pilot program. Meaning, it won't just be with them. We'll come up with a pilot program to work with them to promote what they're doing. One way or another, we'll figure it out, right? And then once that's worked out, we'll go to other organizations for them too. Now, what does that do for chambers? Well, if they're getting involved with something so great as that, then it's a win-win for them. Hopefully, they're doing good things, and they will be, that people know that they're doing these things. We talked about this at the beginning, right?
Right.
And so it works all around. It's almost like a business relationship. Mm-hmm. And that's really where, we're developing business relationships moving forward, where I think that'll be the winner,
Yeah, you bring up very excellent points, and that is you got to show up, you got to be willing to talk about it, and then when you talk about it, you got to formalize it, and then you got to execute it and do it.
Yeah.
I think you brought those points home pretty well. So, as we're getting close to close, and what is next for your team, and what's the one thought you want to make sure you leave our listener with today?
I guess the next thing, really, I would have to say, is finishing up the grant with Nassau County. Mm-hmm. That's gonna come down in the next few weeks or short, sooner, and that has to be, one of our top priorities, for obvious reasons.
Right.
That's probably what's next. If you had to pick one thing, it has to be, right. Mm-hmm. When it comes to things to remember, like kind of to take home with you, we were talking earlier about, videos. We did stuff with Eric about, the online, the videos, and they mentioned that, it's important to, shop local, to support your local businesses, play local. As Ray said, there's so much to do here, right? But remember, our small businesses don't need your help. What they need is for you to remember why they're there. Okay, they're there to serve a purpose. I mean, yes, they're the ones that are promoting your kids softball team and all that, but they chose your community, or they were there already, right? And the architecture of their businesses fits your community, and the convenience, you can't beat that. And if you remember that, everything will work out just fine.
I love it. Give us your contact information so we know where to find you.
Well, if you want to reach me directly, the best way to do it is by email to get started, because we're getting calls all the time. You can send it to president@ncchambers.org. That's president@ncchambers.org. Or look, you can call my number directly. If you need to get, hold of me faster, it's 516-220-6176. It's best to send me a text first, give me a heads up, and then give me a call.
Frank, thank you once again, Frank Camarano, president of the Nassau Council Chamber of Commerce, for being here. But I'd like to leave you with DB's philosophy. No one is useless in this world who lightens the burdens of others. Charles Dickens, Dr. Marigold.
We want to thank you for being with us. My name is Ray Schwetz, along with Donyshia Boston-Hill, your co-host and producers. This is an NCC Foundation production. Visit nccradio.org for more information. We're available on Odyssey, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and as a podcast on iTunes, Android Podcasts, and Spreaker. This has been Tower Talk Business Radio, powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation, on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.